Uh, Here, we're not going to attack again. We're just going to pass the turn. If you watch his clock here, he doesn't attack, and he thinks for a while before he it was only 6 seconds, but it seemed like a while considering how fast he was playing for the rest of the game. So I'm thinking he has a wild Leotao in hand and doesn't want to play it into Executioner's Capsule. So we draw our Imperial Archangel. So now we really just, if we draw lands at this point, we're happy. But we're going to save this Executioner's Capsule for something that we really need to use it on. So here, he plays out an Armor Guard. I still feel like he's trying to bait out me using the Executioner's Capsule so we can play a Wild Leotao. And I don't feel like falling into that, so we draw another mountain, and we're just face palming really bad right now because I'm getting pretty upset that I'm not drawing any green. I have about a 1 in 5 chance of drawing it, or 1 in 6 chance of drawing it, excuse me. Here he attacks with both, and I feel like this is the turn he wants me to use it, but we're not going to fall for that, so we're just going to kill off his Armor Guard. In response to him playing the Leotao, and then we're going to end of turn, kill his Leotao. We draw, and now we're just... During the draft, I was literally sitting in my on my sofa in my room, just yelling, "Forest, Forest," because it was to the point where I really just wanted to draw a Forest. He has another Wild Leotao at this point, which now I just come on Forest, please, one time, and luckily we were able to draw it. So here we're just going to play out our Court Archers, because now we can double block the Leotao and kill it with a Stinger. The only trick I saw from him last game was Beam of Resistance, and he doesn't have the mana to use that, so I'm not too worried about it. And I'm willing to trade a Wild Leotao for one of these two creatures. That seems good for us. So he's going to go and kill off our Rock's Meditant, and we're going to kill his Leotao with our Stinger in response to the Pride Mage. If he would have cast the Pride Mage first, his Leotao would have lived. I'm assuming he isn't too happy about his choice, but what can you do? So here we draw, and we get our island, so we're just like, oh yeah. We just get to windmill our, we think for a second. Now here's where you learn that reading is really fundamental to play Magic. I saw in the replays that he has O-Ring in his deck, and I don't want to get my Empirical Angel O-Ring, so I don't play it out right away. Now, if you were listening to that previous sentence, you know that the mistake I made is that Imperial Archangel has Shroud. So, the sooner the better when it comes to playing it out. We have 2 creatures to block, and, you know, it would not be a big deal to play it out now and put them on a 4-turn clock. But instead, we just play out our Visionary, and we get our Bant Panorama. So, we're just sort of like, right about now is when I realize the mistake I made. So he cycles his Gleam of Resistance. 1 second. Alright, so back to the game. As I was saying, he cycles his Gleam of Resistance, so that gets rid of 1 combat trick in his deck, but he really needs to find a red at this point. So he goes ahead and plays out his mountain, and starts tapping mana and then passes the turn. Not sure what he was planning, but at this point it doesn't really matter because we know what we're going to do. He just attacks with his Nihadal, and yeah, that's fine. We'll take 4. And now I just think to myself, wow, I really hope you can deal 8 in one turn there, bro. So we just play out our Archangel, and not sure why I attacked here, but I do. I guess with the Stinger, if I dealing that damage there, and please excuse for the earlier portion of this game. I know most of you are probably livid with me. I completely forgot to use my Stinger end of turn to deal damage to him. I realized this at this point, and I was super mad at myself. I was just so up in arms about finding a green land that I just completely forgot everything else. So please excuse that. Uh, Other than that, I think I've done okay this game. So he attacks, and I block. I don't know any combat tricks that cost 1 red, so I'll just sacrifice a guy to keep my angel alive. His end step, now I start remembering to ping him. I draw a green, so we're feeling pretty good right here. I play out my steward, and now I debate what I want to do, but I just decided it's better to have another creature on the field. So we just go ahead and do that, and just protect our angel a little better. Now we're going to get in there for 6. And pass the turn. He's thinking for a second, doesn't really have any options. So end of his turn. So he casts a Rayclaw Gargantuan, doing the Naya thing and just getting big dudes on the field. His end step, we ping him again. I cannot believe I was so mad at myself for forgetting that. No, I have no idea why I forgot that. So here we just play out our Captured Sunlight, and we see Filigree Fracture, which is of little help. So we're just going to gain 4 life. Now we're going to Shard Convergence to thin our deck out in case he doesn't find an answer to the Archangel. Let's play out our Plains, and just get in for 6 more. So we're now in a position where if he doesn't have an answer, he loses, and he doesn't have an answer. So that's the game. As you can see, our clock is pretty low, so we have to sort of try to win fast next game in game 3. So let's see if I can do it. All right, guys, game 3 of round 2 here. This game, our opponent chooses to play first, and we see a very suspect hand. This hand, I don't know. I got a feeling, and I went with my gut instinct. I know it's 1 land, and it's genuinely not a keep, but if I draw any land, I'm going to be fine. Because of Sylvan Bounty, I can go get a white, then play my Steward, and then I have access to all the guys in my hand, basically. So we're going to keep this. And we're on the draw, so we have an extra chance to draw a land. He has a green and no play. We draw, and we get one of our lands. So here, he has a white, and gets out his Sighted Cast Sorcerer. We draw, and we mize our plains like a pro. And